You ever seen a 50-year-old woman break into a garage with bolt cutters, a plasma torch, and a sledgehammer just to get inside an old safe she wasn't even sure had anything in it? Yeah, that happened. It all started on a quiet Tuesday afternoon in rural Arizona, the kind of day where the breeze smells like pine dust and motor oil, and the only thing on your mind is finishing a picture frame for your grandfather's memorial photo. That's exactly what I was doing when Carol Whitmore knocked on my front door. Sharp knock, too, like she was trying to punch through the wood with her knuckles. She stood there in her gray blazer, lips pursed so tight you'd think she was holding a lemon between her teeth, clipboard in hand. "I'm Carol Whitmore, president of the Clear Valley HOA," she said, like she was announcing a royal decree. I knew who she was. Everybody in this neighborhood did. I'd seen her patrol the streets like a bored mall cop, counting grass blades and measuring mailbox heights. "I need to inspect your garage for compliance," she said, marching in like she owned the place. Now, I wasn't trying to pick a fight. I was still grieving, still figuring out what to do with the house my grandfather left me after he passed 6 months ago. So I let her in, led her to the garage, and that's when everything went sideways. The moment her eyes landed on that old black safe in the corner, it was like she forgot why she was there. About 4 feet tall, heavy steel, gold lettering that read RMH 1968, my grandfather's initials and the year he got it. She stared at it like it held the secrets of the universe. "Is that military equipment?" she asked, her voice low, tense. I told her no. It was just an old family safe, legal, been there for decades. But she didn't listen, just circled it, muttering about codes, compliance, unauthorized storage. The next morning at 6 a.m., I got the first email. Something about my trash cans being 6 inches out of line. Then another about noise complaints from my woodworking. Then another, and another. By the end of the week, I'd received 17. But it was the last one that got me. "Remove the military weapons storage unit within 7 days or face legal action." Attached was a photo of the safe, taken from inside my garage, which meant someone had been in there. Again. That's when I installed the cameras. 4 of them. Night vision, motion detection, full coverage. What I caught next still makes my skin crawl. Carol, dressed in black, flashlight in hand, sneaking around my yard between 2 and 3 a.m. every single night. On the third night, the mic picked up her voice. She whispered, "Daddy said it's in there. 37 years I've waited." That's when it hit me. This wasn't about HOA rules. This was personal. Next night, I sat in the dark kitchen, watching. At 2:37 a.m., she showed up again, this time with bolt cutters. She sliced through my side gate padlock like it was dental floss. I reached for my phone to call the cops, but something told me to wait. I needed to know what she was after. She whispered again, "Tomorrow I'll make them pay. 37 years, Daddy." I didn't sleep. I dug into every file, every letter, every dusty record my grandfather left behind. That's when Margaret Evans, my neighbor 2 houses down, 82 years old, sweet as sugar cookies, dropped a bombshell. Turns out, my grandfather and Carol's father, Franklin Whitmore, used to work on a secret military project in the 80s. Something about defense tech, top secret, big money. Franklin believed he got cheated, thought the safe had the blueprints or patents. On his deathbed, he made Carol promise she'd get it back. It wasn't about the HOA. It was about a dying man's last obsession, passed down like a curse. So I hatched a plan. I needed Carol to think I'd finally cracked. First, I stopped replying to her emails. Let her believe I was breaking. Then, I staged a public breakdown. Told Tom next door I was heading out for a mental health reset. Booked a room at a no-name motel 40 miles away. Meanwhile, I upgraded my cameras. Professional grade, hidden, cloud synced. I left the garage dark and locked, just like always. 3 nights later, she took the bait. Carol showed up in full stealth mode, dark hoodie, heavy backpack, spray bottle to blur the old cameras with petroleum jelly. But those were decoys. The real ones? Tucked in vents and behind shelving. She had no clue. What she pulled out next looked like something out of a spy movie. Plasma cutter, magnetic drill, even what looked like plastic explosives. I watched her sweat and grunt and curse, trying everything to break into the safe. Nothing worked. Then she noticed the keypad, the one I accidentally mentioned during a chat with Margaret, knowing full well Carol was eavesdropping. Her face lit up like a kid on Christmas. She pulled out a crumpled paper, started punching in codes, praying one would work. They didn't. She lost it. Grabbed a sledgehammer, started smashing the safe like it insulted her mother. "I know what's in there," she screamed. "The project, Screaming Eagle, it's ours." Then she made her final mistake. Carol called 911, told the dispatcher I was hiding military-grade explosives, that I was a domestic threat, that they needed to come now. And then she went right back to trying to cut the safe open. What she didn't know was the safe had a federal alarm built into the panel, set off the moment she breached the wiring. Less than a minute later, red and blue lights. Federal agents stormed in, guns drawn. "Ma'am, step away from the safe." Carol froze, still holding the plasma cutter. "No, you don't understand. I'm the HOA president. He's the one hiding weapons." They weren't buying it. Turns out her father had been investigated back in '87 for trying to sell classified materials. Case was dropped, no proof. But they'd kept the file. The moment her name came up in that call, they connected the dots. She was arrested on the spot. 3 months later, I watched her stand in federal court, charged with destruction of government property, false emergency reporting, attempted theft, criminal trespass. Her lawyer blamed lifelong emotional trauma. The judge wasn't having it. "Obsession," he said, "does not excuse federal crimes." They sentenced her right then and there. The safe, still in my garage, still unopened, still holding its secrets. Maybe blueprints, maybe nothing. My guess? My grandfather never cared about what was inside. It was a symbol, not a treasure. After Carol's arrest, the HOA voted in new leadership, someone who actually gave a damn about the people, not the power. Neighbors I'd never spoken to brought over pies and said thank you. Even the mailman gave me a thumbs up. But sometimes, late at night, I still stand in front of that safe, wondering if I should open it, or maybe just leave it shut. Let it be a monument, a warning. Because here's the truth. What's locked away isn't always what haunts us. Sometimes, it's what we believe is inside. What do you think? Was I right to set that trap? Should I open the safe, or let the mystery live on? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about it. Justice, obsession, and what happens when power goes unchecked in the hands of the wrong neighbor.